I used to wake up every day feeling restless and overwhelmed. This would sometimes lead me to procrastinate for hours. It turns out I wasn't alone in this. A lot of people wake up feeling overwhelmed. So I decided to go out into the cosmos of information and seek some answers, some resolution. And that's where I discovered the flow state. In this video, I'm going to go in depth into what the flow state is, how can we activate it, and why is it so important for our younger generation to experience flow. And that feeling of overwhelm, we're going to tackle that too. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around. Hey guys, I'm Jacob. I'm your radiant mindset coach, energy crystal specialist, and aura expert. On this channel, we explore themes related to psychology and self-development. So let's get into it. So I live really close to a park that has a busy road with cars going through it. And there's a slow speed limit, so cars have to go at a slow and steady pace. And you can imagine how frustrating this can be, especially if you're commuting to work in the morning. I feel like in this situation, the drivers have a choice. You can either let this moment be frustrating, or you can align yourself with the flow of the slow and steady cars. You can start to focus on the present moment and then decide for yourself, what can you do to make this moment better? In my opinion, that's what flow is. Flow is going completely into the present moment and aligning yourself with your subconscious mind. You allow yourself to let go and you decide to move with the world around you and not against it. And I feel like that's when the magic happens. Instead of focusing on what they can't do, the driver will then think about, what can I do in this present moment? They can open this toolbox of the present moment and start to think what would actually make this moment better. Like for instance, maybe there's an audiobook that they haven't finished that they want to just throw on in the background, or maybe there's ideas that they've been wanting to compile in a voice note that they can do while they're slowly driving. You need to understand that the flow has always been there and is always waiting for you to align yourself with. It's not something that just goes away. The earth spins, seasons change, and the flow, it's a natural thing. A lot of us think that by becoming these masterminds of our lives and carefully planning out each moment will create the best experiences, the best, most memorable moments. But actually, I think the best moments happen when you let go and you experience the present moment. You experience this flow energy. There have been so many moments in my life that I've carefully planned out, made an itinerary where I felt like I couldn't enjoy the present moment because I was busy thinking about my to-do list or the next thing I would have to do. So being able to access this flow has really allowed me to become more present. And instead of thinking about my to-do list or all the things that I haven't done that day, I focus on the present moment and actually what I can add to this moment now instead of all those other things. And also, when I'm at work, the flow state is something that I'm definitely aiming for. Nothing beats the feeling of working with a team of people that you can trust, so then you feel like you can work at your best. And then that makes it a quality experience for not just you, but others. One of my goals right now is to work on a creative project with a group of people being in this flow state. I feel like that would be really cool, so it's something I'm definitely aiming for. So I touched on my personal experience with flow, but how do we access this energy? Well, I think there's a few ways we can do this. One way actually happened to me when I was going to see my friend and I happened to be late. This is the kind of situation that would cause me so much stress in the past because I had this fear of disappointing others. And so in the moment, I got stressed out, I got really flustered. In order for me to make it there on time, I started to walk with this aggressive attitude, pushing towards my destination. And just 5 minutes in, I was already exhausted. And I literally had to stop myself and ask myself, what are you doing? And I stopped for a moment and I started to think. And I remembered what I had learned about the flow state and about being in the present moment. And I kind of just questioned myself, why aren't you applying that in this moment right now? Nothing was going to change the fact that you're late to see your friend, but it doesn't mean you have to put your body and your mind in a stressful state. Instead, decide in that moment, how can you make this moment better right now? And in that moment, for me, I just put on an audiobook just so I could calm down, and I made my way to see my friend in a calm and steady pace. I started to notice all the things around me that I hadn't noticed before. I noticed that actually it was a really sunny day outside, a perfect day for a walk. So me not being able to catch my bus that day and going for this walk was actually perfect. I noticed all of the people around me enjoying the sun, enjoying their day. And by noticing these things around me and focusing in on the present moment, I went into a flow state. When I walked, it felt effortless. It felt light. In these moments, I feel like it's so easy to get into a stressful state that can then spiral on for minutes, for hours. But I feel like in those moments, we can accept the moment as it is, become present, and then see what we can do with the toolbox toolbox that we have in that moment. And I actually ended up getting there right on time, and I was able to spend time with my friend in a non-stress and calm state. So I think this is a very useful thing you can do in like your day-to-day life. I feel like another way to access flow is to do things that will activate your subconscious mind. A lot of the stress, a lot of the negative thoughts that we experience happen actually in the conscious mind. Negative thoughts will come up and our conscious mind will decide, I'm gonna identify as them. Our conscious mind is smart, but not intelligent enough to be distracted. You might think that being easily distracted is a bad thing. However, when it comes to accessing the flow state, it actually comes in handy. Have you ever done something where you felt like time just disappeared? Maybe it was reading a book or doing some sort of group activity. In those moments, it seemed like all of those like negative thoughts, all of those like little things that we would stress about just fade away. By doing things that we enjoy and that activate our subconscious mind, we access the flow. So doing things like reading, group activities, hiking, like things that will in a way distract you from your conscious mind, you activate the flow. And the overthinking and the overwhelm will completely fade once you start working out of your subconscious mind. So knowing this and being conscious of it, you can then create habits that will make it easier for you to put yourself into a flow state. For example, maybe start reading before you go to work. I feel like reading is one of the easiest ways to access flow, and it's a great habit either way to incorporate into your life, but I found that when I read in the mornings, it's way easier for me to access the flow throughout the day. By reading, I completely focus in on the present moment, and I'm able to move with the world around me. I feel connected. I feel like I'm part of something. It's a really cool feeling. Another way to access the flow is actually by incorporating elements of play into your life. And I feel like for some of us, we didn't have a lot of that growing up. A lot of us had to grow up really quickly. So the idea of, as an adult now, bringing more elements of play into your life, it kind of seems strange. However, when you participate in these play activities, the conscious mind also fades. By doing these lighthearted, focused activities, we can access flow. I'll never forget the first time I tried out group sports as an adult. At first, it was strange. I was not used to just being in this like community spirit, this like sports mindset. However, the more I focused in on it, I felt like I was able to access the flow of things. So whether it is like a sports group or maybe like a dance group as well, like try joining something that will allow you to access these states of flow. And I know there's a book that exists that's dedicated to this topic of flow, but I've actually not read it. So literally all of the information from this video is just things that I've kind of picked up from the world around me. And maybe by reading the book, I will be able to kind of incorporate more elements of flow into my life. I feel like in general, flow is something that I want more of. I feel like by having more flow in your life, your body starts to heal from the trauma and the stress it has been put through. And that's why I think it is so important for flow to be taught in schools, whether it's called that or it's some other form. I feel like everyone can benefit from knowing how to access this energy, and especially like young people who had to go through events of like 2020, where maybe in those developmental years they didn't get to experience elements of like play, elements of like group activities, and they haven't seen kind of the importance and the impact that it can have on their lives. Like for me, it is truly something that has been transformational. So I really wish this was something that was more widespread. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like to see more of me, I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, so check that out. And I'll see you in the next video.